What's up everyone, welcome back to more Reddit stories about entitled people, crazy people, Karens, and all that kind of stuff. So as usual, let's get right into today's Reddit posts. HR won't do anything about a coworker who's angry about my weight loss. I just came back to work after a month-long emergency medical leave. The TLDR is that after a decade of medical gaslighting, a new doctor ordered an emergency MRI during a routine visit and discovered a mass in my abdomen. I was rushed into surgery within 24 hours. I ended up having an 18-pound benign tumor pressing on my vital organs, and I was about a week away from multiple organ failure. I am lucky to be alive, and time will tell if I have any lasting organ damage, but right now everything is fine. Mentally, I'm struggling with a few things, but the only outwardly noticeable impact is that I've gone from a size 20 to a size 8. Nobody on my medical team anticipated a change this drastic, but I'm healthy and lucky. I was expecting to get a lot of questions from my coworkers because curiosity exists. I had a basic emergency surgery, but I'm fine now answer that almost everyone accepted, but one coworker who I hardly speak to, Aubrey. On my first day back to work, Aubrey came up to me and said, "I wish you had come to me to lose the weight instead of resorting to such drastic measures. You're going to gain it all back, you know. I'll be waiting." I was aware of Aubrey's reputation, but since we never worked together, I didn't think it would be an issue. She's one of those people who thinks they're a fitness expert and calls herself a health coach, nothing to do with the company we work for. She has a reputation for giving out unsolicited and incorrect health advice, and is always commenting on people's food choices. I was speechless when she asked why I opted to get butchered instead of putting in the hard work to lose the weight. There's nothing wrong with someone choosing surgical weight loss options, but that's not what happened to me, and I really resented her aggressive attitude and spreading rumors. During my second week back, she came by my office at the end of the day in athletic gear, offering to go with me if I was too afraid to go to the gym alone. At the time, I wasn't even cleared to lift my kid, do laundry, or climb a flight of stairs, let alone go to the gym with this crackpot. I don't remember what I said to her, but she left, saying I'd gained the weight back because I'm lazy. The next day, Aubrey ranted angrily about me in a meeting I wasn't in. Missed it for a follow-up, ironically. I don't know everything that was said, but the gist of it was that if I can't dedicate myself to weight loss, I obviously can't see my work obligations through. HR called for a red flag mediation. At our company, mediation can go against your bonus opportunities for the year. I have no idea why I'm in mediation when she's the one being a weirdo. At the mediation, Aubrey stated that she was triggered by my new body, and I should have thought of other people's feelings and warned her before my surgery. I hardly had the time to warn my husband and get my kid out of daycare. I don't owe Aubrey anything. I have empathy that she's obviously struggling, but that does not excuse her behavior. HR said that while they can't ask me to explain my medical history, it might clear the air if I told her what kind of surgery I had and why. I said I wasn't obligated to share my medical information with anyone, and that Aubrey having bad coping skills doesn't entitle her to a coworker's personal health information. Their response was kind of, "Well, then we can't stop her from bullying you." After Thanksgiving, my doctor helped me put in ADA accommodation paperwork so I could work from home. I was having some mild complications from surgery, but also to avoid Aubrey. This company hates remote work, so they're really not happy. Aubrey still emails me workout videos and diet plans, and when I forward them to HR, their response is, "Noted. Do you know when you're coming back to the office?" I've been thinking about escalating this to corporate with an employment lawyer. Is that overkill? I am still in a sensitive place after my surgery, and I still have no energy for this, especially since Aubrey is fixated on weight loss, which was the primary way doctors gaslit me for years. I've been with this company for 5 years, and I'm just exhausted and disappointed in how they're handling this, and I won it over yesterday. Update. All I have to say for this update is hold on to your banana pants. I saw a lot of comments asking where management was in all this, so I'll address that first. My boss, George, was getting ready to retire while this was going on. George is roughly my grandfather's age, so this entire situation bewildered both him and his replacement, who he was training at the time. Both of them met with Aubrey's boss, because believe me, I was documenting everything she did from the jump, and they all assured me that Aubrey would be dealt with. None of them recommended the red flag mediation. That was HR's idea. I was given details of the meeting where Aubrey ranted about me, and it was horrible. But apparently Aubrey was asked to leave the meeting by her own boss while several other employees told her to stop. So managerially and in the office in general, people were trying to rein her in from many different angles. HR is where the ball dropped and dropped hard. This company just has a poor HR structure and bad entry to mid-level HR. When Aubrey's boss referred her to HR regarding her negative behavior, HR took it upon themselves to consider it a mediation situation, which, remember, at our company can go against your bonus for the year, despite communication from George, his replacement, and Aubrey's boss, saying I wasn't in the wrong. When George found out about this, he spoke to the HR generalist manager, who said that my absence probably caused a lot of strain and extra work for Aubrey, when Aubrey's not even credentialed to do what I do. Management made a point to tell me how baffled and upset they were with HR's handling of the situation every time something came up. My company mentor was also a huge support during this time until she decided to take another job elsewhere. When my doctor extended my ADA work-from-home accommodation a second time, HR responded by telling me my attendance was a concern. I emailed their boss's boss, the HR director, and asked for clarification. He said I hadn't come into the office, so of course my attendance was a problem. I reiterated I had medical documentation stating that if work from home wasn't available, then they could refer to the FMLA documentation my medical team also sent. He replied that medical documentation, including both FMLA and ADA reasonable accommodations, quote, doesn't hold much weight with the company. That's when I got a lawyer. Aubrey as a problem kind of drifted to the background when HR started their medical documentation doesn't matter campaign. On my lawyer's recommendation, I contacted the HR executive team, which is where this whole cursed situation came to light. And I did check with my lawyer about emailing this update, and they laughed and said I couldn't leave people hanging after all that. I called the chief HR officer, which for my company is going over like 5 people's heads, but I did it with George's and my new boss's blessings, who is the head of HR, and asked why my attendance was an issue when I had reasonable ADA documentation. She had no idea what I was talking about, so I filled her in on all of it, including the mediation meeting and Aubrey's harassment and the HR director, her direct report, saying medical documentation didn't hold any weight with the company. She was speechless and asked to meet with me and my lawyer as soon as possible. My lawyer hardly had to do anything during the meeting because the chief HR officer was horrified at everything I told her. I've never actually seen steam come out of someone's ears, but if it was physically possible, it would have happened here. My lawyer didn't need to say a word, but just nodded and smiled when the CHRO offered an extended paid medical leave so I could handle my recovery, and said Aubrey constantly sending me fitness plans would be dealt with swiftly. I didn't hear anything out of Aubrey for a long time, but I did hear through some gossip channels that the HR staff involved in the red flag meeting and threatening to write me up were let go. Aubrey wasn't fired because they believed she was misled by HR, so I understand that part even if I don't agree with it, but she was on a tight PIP for a while. Then she showed up at my house. Now we move on from banana pants to full-on banana ensemble. I'm still on leave, and out of the blue, Aubrey showed up at my door on a weekend with 2 other women in tow, and the commenters guessed it. She's in very deep with an MLM, multi-level marketing scheme, aka pyramid scheme. Or maybe a cult, I can't be sure at this point. Aubrey came over to demonstrate some workout techniques and give me some diet supplement samples, and discuss a career opportunity because she was worried about my physical and professional health. She didn't make it past my mother-in-law, who has been a godsend right now. My mother-in-law made it clear where Aubrey could stick her demonstration and they left in a hurry. I notified my lawyer and the chief HR officer, and suffice it to say, Aubrey is now a full-time wellness coach. In case it isn't clear, I take that to mean Aubrey is fired. I'm happy I went with my gut and got a lawyer because the company has changed so drastically over the last year, with the toxic HR department encouraging behavior like Aubrey's and spreading false information about medical leave and time off. The company is almost unrecognizable. Also, with my boss and mentor both gone, I don't know if I'm going to go back once I'm medically cleared. Final update. I got an offer from a local company that's going fully remote with administration and management meeting up once a month. The salary was right, it's 90% remote, it's a good fit, so I'm happy with it. My role is HR adjacent as head of payroll. I walk into our first admin meeting, and who is sitting across from me but the HR director who told me medical documentation doesn't matter and orchestrated my red flag meeting. Let's call him Bob. Bob is the interim HR director for this company. Bob looked very uncomfortable when he saw me. We went through some employee files, including several who were on maternity leave and 2 who were injured on a job site. Bob got quieter as we began reviewing medical documentation and approving paid leave. I smiled and looked him in the eye every time I asked, "And does Jill have her medical documentation?" "Great. Medical documentation holds a lot of weight. That's important stuff to have." He looked like he wanted to melt into his seat. At one point, he tried to argue against someone using their PTO to provide end-of-life care for a parent when they had ample PTO. I smiled and said, "You're right. Our employee support fund should cover half this time. It's a shame for them to have to lose all their PTO when they're obviously going to need it to heal and grieve over the next few months. Why don't you give me the paperwork for the support fund this afternoon? That's so generous." Everyone was happy and in agreement. He looked like he swallowed a lemon, but everyone was like, "OMG, Bob, how thoughtful." He had to eat it so bad and got me the documentation an hour later. Bob can suck it. Bob is also only a contractor, so he'll be moving on soon anyway. Medically, I'm doing better and very happy to move on from where I was. Aubrey's been full-on radio silence, which is perfect for me. My girlfriend sold my car because of a petty argument. I am now suing her. So for a bit of context, my girlfriend and I have known each other for around 4 years, but started dating during 2021. That car has been passed down for generations, by the way. It's a 1972 Ford F100 my grandpa owned, then passed down to my dad, then passed down to me. I don't drive it too often as I do have my own car, but I use it for work. Recently, we've gotten into an argument over me not taking care of our 2 cats. Thing is, I spend almost all day working and the rest of it resting. So what did she do? She got the pickup truck, went to a junkyard and sold it. Worst part, she sold it for $400. Keep in mind this truck was in pristine condition. When I got back home from the bar, I noticed the pickup wasn't there. I asked her and she told me what she did. I instantly packed up my things, my cat, told her we were done, and left. I've been getting calls from her family, and friends every day calling me names. Clarifying some questions in the comments. First time, we had an argument over chores. Last argument we had was about her disappearing on me for 9 hours without any previous notice. That was about a month ago. Also, it's not like I just didn't take care of the cats at all. I was just really busy with work and got back home really tired. Also keep in mind that I was the breadwinner in the house. We had an agreement that she would do the chores, I put food on the table. I still love the cats and fed them. Update. Thanks for all the advice and support. 2 things. I've talked to my cousin who is a lawyer. He said I could have a solid case if this goes to court, but honestly, after all the crap I've been through, I want my pickup back and some more for what happened. I doubt the police is going to do anything after a couple of bad experiences I've had with them. My ex came knocking on my door. I ignored her. Don't want anything to do with her anymore. My dad also got the news and was super sad considering the truck was pretty much the family's breadwinner for about 30 years. Update 2. Thanks for the advice again. I have now filed a police report for the stolen F100. I have hope it can be done. I am also doing my own bit of research, driving to a couple nearby junkyards, but I doubt I'll find it on my own. I hope we can find the old green F100 we love so much. Update 3. The F100 has been found at a nearby junkyard by a friend. Thanks for all the support, guys. Update 4. So people have been asking these things, so I feel like I should clarify. 1. It's not like I took no care of the cats at all, I did. She doesn't work. I put bread on the table. She gets the house chores done. That's how we managed it, which is why I feel like this was petty. 2. I went to a bar to hang out with a friend I had not seen in 5 years. I don't drink heavily or often. 3. The signature was forged by my girlfriend from what I know at the moment, or the junkyard guy just took it because it was a 9.6K profit. Update 5. So I have the F100 back. Over a day of no sleep, work, and panic, and it's finally over. She's been charged with a Class 1 felony for stealing a car worth more than $10,000. She's been fined $5,000. Finally back from the garage with the truck. I did have to pay the $400 back though, and it's not as good as it was before. It's really dirty, probably from driving to the junkyard, which is pretty dirty. And the bodywork that was once pristine is now damaged. Has a huge scratch on the paint. It was a really sharp key or something because the bodywork is now ruined. It has started flash rusting, which is really not good. The paint is ruined. The truck itself isn't as great as before. I can tell she broke the brake fluid line as well, because the brakes are running badly. Good news though. My ex-girlfriend has been charged with a Class 1 felony for Grand Theft Auto and fined $5,000. Don't worry though, I will still follow through with the lawsuit. Alright guys, that's going to be all for today. Thank you for watching, I appreciate it. Be sure to hit that like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't already if you want to see more Reddit stories like these. So take care, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you in the next one.